Hello everyone, Tina here. I hope you're having a wonderful week so far. Thanks so much for joining me for another 5 Easy Step card. Today we are playing with some brand new waffle flower crafts items, and they're so much fun. Okay, we have, first off, this is the table runner die set. It's perfect for, I think it's great for dinner parties. If you guys give out dinner parties or inviting somebody over for dinner, this is a really cute set for that. There's some place settings and some silverware. There's a table runner and coffee cups. If you're doing a Thanksgiving themed table setting, there is a little gravy boat here. How cute is that? You get chargers and then pretty fancy china plates. There's even a napkin ring, or a napkin ring with a flower on it that you can add to the silverware. There's 2 different sizes of silverware too, which makes it really nice. There's even a little placemat. Can't go wrong with that. So we're gonna fancy up a table setting. I don't know if you guys do this for the holidays, but Thanksgiving I break out the nice china and the gravy boat. And so I'm super excited about this. So we'll be using this on our card. For my greeting, we have a new stamp set. This is from Waffle Flower too. It's called Grateful Heart Sentiments. It's great for every day, not just for Thanksgiving. And there is a coordinating die set that we'll be using to pop up our greetings on our card today. And I also want to mention that this is a stencil that coordinates with the table runner. It's the table runner pattern stencil, but this is one of those stencils that are great on their own. Let me show you. You see what I mean? Great on their own, great horizontal, great for vertical. Actually, I did that wrong. But so much fun. These will layer directly into your table runner. And when you die cut out the table runner, it's one piece, but there's options available. If you snip off the corners, it's really easy to take the fringe off or the ruffle off. So you could pop it up. You can create a 2 different color table runner. It's just sky's the limit, and I love that there's so many options with that. So this is great on its own too for backgrounds, okay, or home panels too. So that's that. Now before we jump in and get started, I am going to bring in another die set for my table setting. This is the Postage Collage mini seal set. We're not using the mini seals or the envelopes, but I am going to use the foliage. When I decorate my dining table for Thanksgiving, I always put a centerpiece in there, and I think this is going to make a great little flourish for the centerpiece of my table setting today. Okay? Before we jump in with step number 1, I do also want to mention one more thing. Bear with me, but this is a good thing. Is if you are interested in anything from the Waffle Flowers release, this is actually called the Sweet Gathering release. If you're interested, I'll link the link down below, but because there's lots more to it. There is if you guys are familiar with my Pie Perfection collection, and if you missed out, it's no longer available. I think it's sold out everywhere. But Waffle Flower has one that's similar. It's not the same, of course, but it is similar. And this is what it looks like. You get some whipped topping, you get the lattice pie crust, and then the pies that you could decorate. So this is new, part of the Sweet Gathering release also. Now if you do purchase anything, be sure to add this to your die set, or to your cart. This is the Waffle Flower Print Happy die. This is a 2-piece die set. Let me show you. 2-piece. You get the print letter, and then you get the shadow, which is really nice. Love these dies. And this is a freebie. This is a gift with purchase. So you just enter it into your, actually there's a coupon code. Add this to your cart because it's a freebie. Freebies are always nice. Okay, let's jump in and create a table setting. It's going to be so much fun. Now I'm going to do a table setting for 4, but you could do it for 2. You could do it for 3. You could do it for, even do a slimline and do 8 of them if you wanted to. You would just double up on this. So this is really neat. Let's do some die cutting. first off, we have the placemat. I'm going to use some craft cardstock and we're going to cut out a placemat with that. There's two different sizes of silverware and two different styles of napkins. I'm going to die cut out the smaller set with some silver cardstock. And then for the napkin, we're going to use the more squared one. And I'm going to cut this one out. We're going to bring a little bit of fall in here, and I'm going to cut this one out with some dark orange colored cardstock. My sweatshirt is shedding. We have the coffee saucer, the coffee cup. I'm going to bring in some ivory cardstock. I'm going to cut these two out with this. We have a charger that we're going to cut out with this also. Okay, there's two different sizes of plates. You can use one, you can use both. I'm going to use both and layer them together with some teal colored cardstock. I have a darker teal that I'm going to create the background with. Okay, and then there is a layerable one that has some little flowers on it. I'm going to cut that one out with a lighter teal. Okay, for the napkin ring, I'm using Copic markers to color this in. So I'm going to cut this out with some white cardstock. You could do the ivory if you wanted to. Okay, and that is all there is to it. We're going to pass on the gravy boat because we're going to add a centerpiece. And this is actually going to be for my home panel. So I will do my die cutting and I'll be right back. My die cutting is all done. I did do a little bit of extra. Let me zoom in here. Okay, the only thing that I did extra was this piece here. It could be either or. I want to doctor up my coffee cup saucer, add a little color to it, because if you add the coffee here, I mean it's really cute the way it is. But I wanted to add a little extra color. Okay, so to do that, I don't know if I want to add a blue circle to the coffee cup, like so. Or I didn't know if I wanted a darker blue. And then I did die cut out another plate. Didn't know if I wanted to do an orange. And I'm really looking at the orange because the only orange we're going to have in our card is the napkin. So I'm thinking we're going to use the orange on the coffee cup. Okay. So I'm actually going to get rid of this piece here and then these pieces here, but keep them because you can always use them. Now I'm going to bring in my craft mat, and what we're going to do is color in. Actually, I'm missing my coffee. Okay, we're going to start off by adding some glue to our china. We're going to call this china. Okay, now if you want to add any color piece for the inside of your plate you could do that. Okay, or you can do the lighter one. Okay, but I like the white in the background. For the most part, it's going to be covered anyway. So we're going to actually leave the inside to be ivory. So we'll just layer these together. Okay, and then I'm going to add a little glue down the middle. And then I'm going to add my napkin. We're just going to place this here. After we have this adhered, I'm going to add a little more glue straight across the center, and then we are going to crisscross our silverware. I mean, just little things like this, they're so adorable. Okay, and then we have, this is the paper, the napkin ring. Okay, I'm going to use a green ink. This is my YG63. We're just going to go over this, add a little color there, and then for the flower, I'm going to use yellow. This is Y32. Lovely. I'm going to add a little dot of glue, and then we can place the flower. It just lays perfectly over that napkin ring. Then I'm going to add another dot of glue, and then we can add the flower center. You don't have to add the flower center. In fact, I kept it white, but I'm going to add some more glue over those silverware. But I'm going to add a gem to the flower center, so you don't have to add the flower center. Okay, let's add our napkin ring on right over our silverware. I wanted more color showing, so I used the larger napkin. But if you wanted to use this one, this napkin ring will fit perfect across here. Okay, or you can layer them both together if you want. Okay, but this is going to go great for what I'm looking for today. Okay, so that is our plate and our, oops. So that is our plate and our napkin. So much fun. Let me grab a foam square, and we're just going to go ahead and put a foam square behind here. This is my placemat, and I'm going to go ahead and remove the release paper, and we're going to add this to our placemat right in the center. You see how easily it comes together? I mean, this is so cute. It comes together so sweetly. Now, for my coffee, we got to add a little color to this piece. When you die cut this out, you die cut these out at the same time. And I'm going to bring in a dark brown ink. This happens to be E18. And we're going to add some color to that one piece. You could cut it out with brown cardstock if you want. But sometimes just inking it up is a lot easier. And there's our coffee mug. Okay, now this is what it would look like if you were to add it to the saucer. I mean, it looks really cute just like that. But what I'm going to do is add a little extra color to the saucer by adding the inside piece to this plate. We'll just tack this down, and then I will pop up my coffee cup. We'll place this on here, and then we can add this. I think this is just going to give me some extra color. And there is one place setting. One down. I have 3 more to go, so I'm going to do that, and I will be right back. Okay, 4 place settings are all done, and 4 coffee cups are all done. Now, I added a little fancy swirl to my coffee using my glazing glue, and I'm going to show you how I do that once we have these on the card. But I think they turned out so sweet. Let me show you. I don't know if you can see it up close or not. But so we have a little dimension to our coffee, and then we have a little cappuccino swirl. We're making fancy coffee for a fancy dinner. And then I took some of my ivory cardstock, the same color that we used for our plate and our coffee cups, and I die cut out this piece from our Postage Collage Seals die. Okay, it's 1 piece and it cuts out 4 flourishes. I did it twice. Okay, and then I used my Copic markers to color in those. I actually added a little bit of brown too. This one. Those are what I colored in my flourishes with. And it's messy coloring. You can see I just kind of spotted with the brown, just to add a little brown. These flowers, I added my corally color. I was trying to find a color that matched my napkins. Okay, and then these flowers I colored in with the same color as my napkin rings. Okay, so those are all done and good to go. This is going to be my focal point. So we are going to move along to step number 2 and create our home panel. Now this die was perfect for that because it's a table runner that is so much fun. I'm going to die cut this out with a piece of white cardstock. Okay, let's add our table runner to our grit mat, and then we are going to stencil this right over the top here. This is my Pink Fresh Studio waterfall. Now this is more of a bluey color, and I want it to be more of a greeny blue to match my place setting. So what I'm going to do is add my blue. These are, and I have to tell you, I've been loving Waffle Flowers blender brushes. Oh my gosh, I just love these. I store them like this, okay? And I thought they would distort the bristles, but it doesn't. I have 5 sets, but I really only need 4. So the other set is more for a backup. But I love them. If you want to wait until the end of the video, or fast forward it, I'll show you the container that I used to store these. Okay, and it's just a temporary container, but it's working out great. Okay, so we have blue, and this is a little bit more greener than blue. So I'm going to bring in my green ink. I'm just going to bring in my green blending brush, and I'm going to go over it. And this is going to tone down the blue and make it a little bit more on the greener side, so it matches this a little bit better. And that's all there is to this. Okay, and are you ready? All you have to do is remove it. Look how fun this is. This is just a fabulous home panel, and it doesn't have to be, I mean, this is a table runner, but it doesn't have to be. So my home panel is all done. We're going to move along to step number 3 and create our greeting. I'm going to use my black ink, and we're going to stamp 2 greetings. Happy Thanksgiving, and then I'm also going to stamp Miss You Especially Today. Okay, we're going to do a little layering. And this greeting can be part of my my centerpiece. We'll stamp this right below it. And I love that there is a block letter and then there is a scripty letter. That's one of my favorite styles of greetings. There's lots in here. So much fun. I'm going to take the coordinating die set, and then we're going to die cut out both of these. I think it looks like I need to lower it. Now let's add our place setting. We'll add some glue. Now, you could add your place setting however you want, but for my card today, I'm going to place it a little wonky. This is how my place settings usually end up anyway. Okay, because I try to get everything nice and perfect, but it doesn't end up that way, and I figured embrace the wonky. I'm going to add this one over here. So our coffee cups are added. Now this is 5.5 inches wide, so it's going to go to the edge of my card base. You want to make sure all your elements, at least to the left and the right of this, are inside your runner. Wonderful. I think it looks really good so far. Now we're going to add a little bit of greenery. So we did a little tucking with our greenery. Now I'm going to put this to the side. We're going to work on step number 4, which is creating our background. For my background, I'm going to bring back our stencil, and we're going to do a little bit of stenciling directly on our card base. So this is my card base, and we're going to use the checkers this time. I'm going to line this up here. There is etched detail, so you know where to put it. The black mat's nice because you can see where you're pressing. Okay, and then I'm going to bring back my teal ink, my waterfall. I'm not going to add any green to this. I'm just going to keep it the teal color, but we're going to go really light here. Lovely. Okay, I'm just going to flip this around, and I'm going to repeat this on the opposite side. Love that. I love when stencils you can use outside of its intended purpose. Okay, and we will take a look. So we have a background filled with some nice checkers. Look how fun that is. And that's all there is to my background. Okay, I'm going to take our home panel that's fully loaded and then I'm going to add some glue behind here. No foam tape. We got a lot going on here. We don't need any extra foam tape. But I'm just going to tack this down right in the center. Wonderful. And then we're going to move along to step number 5, and we are going to embellish. I'm bringing in some of my Color Essential gems. I'm going to bring in a gold mix. And then we're just going to add some gold flower centers. I already did it to the other flower centers. We're just going to add a little sparkle using some of these smaller gems to the napkin ring, and then to these flower centers also. And then I'm going to show you how I added the little swirls to the coffee. So easy to do. I'm bringing in my glazing glue, but if you have glossy accents, you could use glossy accents. I'm going to add just a little layer over my coffee. You don't have to add very much of this to the top. And then I'm going to bring in some Nuvo drops. These are my Aroma drops. This is Magnolia Bloom, but if you have liquid pearls or hero pearls, you can use any kind of drops really to mix them together. And all I'm going to do is add a small little C inside the there we go, inside of the glaze and glue or glossy accents, and then using my craft pick, I'm going to help it along a little bit and kind of swirl it in the center. And it's going to dry. So fun. We have a little cappuccino swirl. How fun is this? Okay, and that's all there is to that. And that's my card today. So much fun. It's a cute little place setting. But that is my card today. I hope you get a chance to check out the Waffle Flower Crafts new release. It's called Sweet Gathering, and I just think it's amazing. I wanted to show you before I go how I stored my brushes, which are just amazing. First, I used some cardstock and added glue behind it, and then what I did was use my inks and went around it. This is right above the gold line here, so this way I could see the colors. Let me show you the container that I used. All I did was get a Rolly Susan. Okay, let me take this out. Okay, this is a clear Lazy Susan. I actually didn't get this online. I actually got it at my local store, but it's a 9-inch wide by, I don't want to pick it up, but it's a 9-inch by, you want it kind of tall, by 3.5 inches tall. Okay, so it's, and then it just swirls so nice. I actually took this from my cabinet. I had this in my cabinet for my sauces, my Worcestershire sauce, for my soy sauce, for my hot sauces. This is what I keep it in my cabinet, my kitchen cupboard. But I took it from there. I need to replace it. If I can find one on Amazon that's comparable, I'll link it down below. But it's a great way to store these. And actually, let me put these back in order. I have 2 greens, I have light and darks for each of my colors, and these are just for my dye-based inks. For example, my yellows. Okay, and they fit perfectly here. I have 2 for my greens, a light and a dark. Okay, and then you see how they want to go in. I wanted something that prevented them from falling over. You see? Now this piece is, let me get the measurement here. This one is 5 inches wide, and it fit perfectly. All 3 of my spray bottles from Spellbinders fits perfectly in here. Okay, this one doesn't. This actually was a Keurig coffee pot holder. Actually, I don't use this no more because we switched to an espresso, but this little container worked perfectly. Any kind of 5-inch wide round container would fit perfectly in here. But this actually, I'm layering together, and then I can actually store my towel in there too. So this is, if I can turn it so you can see it, it's really pretty on the side. You see the sides? So this is how I store them, and it's been working really well so far. So if I find something better, I'll keep you updated. And it glides. So for example, if I wanted to use a teal, all I would do is find my teal, and then I could just put it back. The nice thing about this is too, it's plastic, and there's nothing, you can just wipe it off with alcohol down there. So that is how I store those with my little Rolly Susan, my Lazy Susan that I stole from my sauces in the cabinet. But thanks for sticking with me to the end. Well, I have that pre-recorded video at the end. I do have some more fun projects coming up for you guys, so stay tuned for those. Thanks for joining me. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Thanks so much for sticking with me to the end. I have 2 more videos that you guys might be interested here. If you guys are new and like the content that you see, click that subscribe button and also the notification bell. That way for future videos, be notified. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It sure does help the channel. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.